Hi there guys, I've decided to make this video in a response to an email that I've just received. I'm not going to mention the person's name or read the email out or anything like that because I'm going to put this up on YouTube. I was going to reply to the email, but I thought this would be a lot more useful, and also a lot of people are going to ask this exact same question, so hopefully this is going to be able to help more people by doing it this way. The question was about the law of attraction, cosmic ordering, and specifically, why isn't it working, and why is it that when I try and change my life in a positive way by doing cosmic ordering, it just goes tits up? Everything seems to be going wrong. I'm trying to attract abundance and I'm getting poverty, so what's going on? Now specifically, this person has said they've bought all the books and courses and they've listened to audio downloads and they're doing all the steps, so they're going through all the processes, but it's just not working out for them. So are they doing something wrong? Are they missing something out? Is cosmic ordering real? How come it's working for other people but it just doesn't seem to be working for them? So if that's going on with you as well, I do know why. There are two very, very specific reasons why this is happening, and hopefully by the time you finish watching this video, you're going to understand that and you're going to be able to move through that period and then start experiencing some of the things that you want in your life. Reason number one. I want you to imagine that when you place a cosmic order, there's you, and let's say that your higher self is the other party of the order, and your higher self kind of arranges things so that what you've focused on attracting into your life appears. And let's say you've chosen to become wealthy. Now, if you've chosen something, the chances are you've not got that at the moment because there are blocks, false beliefs, that you've accepted at a subconscious level that are stopping you from being the thing that you want, otherwise you wouldn't want it. So let's imagine that you've got some sort of belief that is stopping you from being wealthy, and then you place cosmic orders for wealth. And your higher self knows that you could have all the wealth that you want if you could get rid of that belief, but you're not aware of that belief because it's at a subconscious level. So what your higher self does is it tries to tell you about that belief. Now, first of all, it will just kind of whisper to you and it will give you a few hints and clues about what the belief is, but the chances are you're not going to notice those. So it has to tell you a little bit louder until it's getting quite loud, and then after a while it will try and shout that belief at you. And pretty soon you're going to have to take notice. Now obviously it doesn't speak the same language that we do, so it doesn't just say to you, hey, the reason you're not rich is because you've got this fear about people taking money off you. It can't do that, but it needs to somehow communicate that to you. So let's say you've placed a cosmic order to become incredibly wealthy, and yet you've got this disempowering belief at a subconscious level that if you were wealthy, other people might try and take your money off you. You become a target, so you become a victim, and that's obviously something you wouldn't want. Now, the way that your subconscious mind or your higher self might try and make you aware of this belief so you can deal with it is to put you in a situation where someone does try and take something of yours. Maybe it might start off by you suddenly realise that you've just been shortchanged in a shop, so someone's taken something that belonged to you, or maybe someone stole something of yours, or maybe you were mugged, or maybe a house was burgled. Now we're going a little bit further down the line there, that's a bit more serious. It's quite an invasion of our situation, so if we got burgled, it'd really make us take notice. Those are the kind of things that are going to alert us to something. So if we can pay attention to that, and we can look at our reality as though nothing happens by accident, absolutely nothing, then we can question, why has this happened? Now, if we look at it as in, this has only happened because there is some belief in me somewhere that has created this reality for me and attracted it to me, then we can start to identify what that belief might be. So if we've got a bit of extra money and someone takes it away from us, that belief could very well be, the more money you have, the more people want to take it off you, and you become vulnerable, you become a victim, you become a target. That isn't a true belief, but it is something that would hold you back from being rich. So if you've tried to create a reality of having abundance in your life, your higher self might try and point that belief out to you by showing you little examples of how it affects you. Once you notice it on a very small scale, you can then deal with it. Bring it out into the open, question it, say, is this really true? Ask, is this true for every single person that becomes wealthy? Of course it isn't. And then you can use strategies to overcome it. Now, there are techniques where you can kind of delete and destroy beliefs. Christine Marie Sheldon produces a course for Unlimited Abundance, which is fantastic for this. You just imagine that you're really, really big, 300 foot tall. Imagine you're a being made of light. think about the belief that you want to destroy and just say, I completely destroy it. I completely remove it from my past, my future, my present life, all alternate lives, all past lives and future lives. I destroy all the stories that are surrounding it and holding it to me and just blow it up with light. So focus on what it is that you don't want. And that idea of, if I've got loads of money, people will try and take it from me, I'll become a victim. That's just an example. And then just imagine that that's kind of like being blown up with light. So it just explodes out of you and that enables you to release it. And you kind of feel a little bit of a weight off your shoulders as you do. Now, obviously, your subconscious mind or your higher self has got to kind of try and communicate those things to you. So I'm going to recommend a book. This book is called The Body-Mind Workbook. There we go. And it's by Debbie Shapiro. Now, this book, it's split, there's an introduction, and then it's split into two sections. The first section is going through your body from head to toe, and it tells you if there is a particular problem with a certain part of your body, that means that your higher self is trying to tell you something, and depending on what part of the body it is, will be what that message is about. I'll give you an example. If you've got a problem with your lower back, it's to do with support. If you've got a problem with your hips, it's to do with the direction you're going in life. If you've got a problem with your shoulders are kind of the root of your emotions because that's where we hug people, that kind of thing. If you've got a problem with your eyesight, then maybe you don't like what you're seeing in your life. So you can kind of see how these things relate to what's going on. And the second part of that book is broken down into different ailments. So it might tell you what a certain illness means. I'll give you an example. If you suffer from, what's the skin where you, flaky skin, I can't think what it's called. you know what I mean, when people, eczema, that's the one I'm looking for. Eczema usually means that you were a certain sort of person, you desperately want to become a new person, a different person, and you're just trying to shake that old person off, but you can't quite get rid of them. It's like a snake trying to shed its skin, but it's not falling away. And that manifests on a physical level. The energy of that vibration manifests on the physical as having eczema. Now, whatever condition you have, or wherever that condition is, it will mean something, and this book is going to tell you what that means, so I strongly recommend that you grab hold of a copy of this. This is an old one. The cover has been changed so it doesn't look like this anymore, but it's Debbie Shapiro, The Body-Mind Workbook. Now, I completely believe that there are no accidents. Things don't happen because of some physical problem or because of something you've eaten. Things happen because you need to be told something, a message needs to be given to you. So to break a wrist means something. You don't break the wrist because you have an accident, you break the wrist because the area around it becomes weak. You do something that's stupid, which causes you to put that vulnerable, and when you start to fall, you instinctively put that out, it hits the floor, it breaks. Those things are all set up so this specific thing happens because it means something, which is what you need to hear. So what I'd like you to do is to look at all the things in your life, all the ailments that you might have suffered, the different body parts, grab hold of a copy of that book and then see what they all mean, and it'll be like reading the story about your life. Now, by doing this, you kind of create a little bit of relationship with your subconscious mind so that you can understand what it's trying to tell you. Now, if you're trying to do cosmic ordering and what you're trying to attract into your life is very different to what you've got at the moment, and there are things that are blocking you from getting that, this is where you're going to see those signs that are trying to show you what that is. So that's the first reason why things seem to be going a little bit tits up. The second reason, and this is really, really important, is when you cosmic order from the mind instead of the heart. Now the mind is, it's something that is seated in this dimensional reality. In this dimension, we've got polarity consciousness. The brain has a left and right hemisphere. We need to create balance in this universe. That's the way this universe works. It is a polarity. And when we create something using the mind, from a purely psychological point of view, we manifest what we focused on, and to create that balance, we manifest its polar opposite. So if you want to create abundance, you create poverty. If you want to create health, you create sickness. That's just universal law. To manifest from the mind, which is an organ based in a third dimensional reality, which is polarity consciousness, you must manifest in balance the positive and the negative. That's just part and parcel of the way you create from the mind. So when you do this, Let's say if you have manifested abundance, and because that's what you've been focused on, some abundance shows up in your life, and you're blinkered looking at this abundance saying, hey, this cosmic ordering thing's great, this is really working. But to maintain that balance and that polarity, the poverty is going to show up too, but that's going to kind of trip you up. It's going to be a bit of a surprise. It's going to be a bit of a smack in the face because you didn't expect it. Now, a lot of people say cosmic ordering works great. I'm getting all the stuff that I want, but I've not quite got it right yet because there's this, every now and again something bad happens, but I don't worry about that. Without realising that they've created both of them because they've been creating from the mind. Now, when you create from the heart is connected to a fourth dimensional reality, which is unity consciousness. So you can create the thing that you are focused on and you don't need the balance of its polar opposite. Now, the way you do this is to connect to the emotion of unconditional love, and that kind of raises your vibration to a point where you can bring in energy from the heart. There are very specific meditations that can also help you to do this. The Merkaba meditation would be really useful to learn, but it's a bit complicated. Also, the entering the heart, which is a Drunvalo Melchizedek meditation, would be useful, but you don't really need to do those. As long as you can tune into the feeling of gratitude, the feeling of joy, and the feeling of unconditional love. Now, when I started doing this, I found the easiest way to do this was to imagine I'm holding like a helpless animal, like a kitten or maybe a baby hedgehog, something like that. Imagine you're holding a kitten, smell its fur, feel how soft it is, and develop a sense of unconditional love for it. If you've got pets, sit with them on your lap and just meditate and just let everything else fall away and just connect with this idea of this unconditional love. And when you get into that state, where there's just that state of joy and bliss and there's nothing else, there's no mental processing, there's just that state of love, then do your cosmic ordering. Then start focusing on the cars that you want and the money and the wealth and whatever it is that you want to attract into your life. Now, on top of that, there is a breathing technique that you can do. If you take your hand like this size here, you imagine a tube going through your body. It goes out of the top of your head, right at the centre, the length of your hand, so that high. The tube is like that, it goes all the way down through your body, and it goes through the bottom of your feet that far as well. So if you're standing up, it's as tall as you are plus 2 hand lengths. If you're sitting down, it goes down into the ground. It's aligned with your spine. So if you sit up nice and straight, when you breathe, imagine energy is going into this tube from the top and from the bottom. Whether you're breathing in or out, energy going into this tube. Now, as you do this, bring it into your belly, just around here. So it's connecting you in the centre. Imagine it expanding in a ball here. Then put your hands like this, grab that ball, and as on an in-breath, pull it up to your chest. Now, this process shifts your breathing from the 3rd to the 4th dimension, and you'll be breathing in 4th dimensional energy, which is much more connected to the heart. So you're going to move your breathing up into your heart chakra. When you do that, imagine you've got a ball just here, where this red circle is, which is quite handy. Have that breathing tube, and when you're breathing in and you're breathing out, energy is coming in from the top and in from the bottom. And that's mixing together in a ball just there. Now imagine that building and building and building, and then imagine that is like a magnet. So as you breathe in, you draw things into you that you desire, but it's always coming from the heart. You've got to connect to that unconditional love. As soon as it starts to drift away from being just a place of joy, a place of love and peace and all that kind of stuff, stop doing your cosmic ordering, because then you'll have shifted from the heart back into the mind. Now, the ascension process, which is what we're all going through at the moment as humans, that is a shift from the mind to the heart. A lot of people call it from 3rd to 4th dimension. Some people talk about jumping to the 5th dimension. But what is actually happening is our consciousness is moving from the mind to the heart. Now, during the time of the fall, what we did is move from the heart to the mind. So we've all been there before. We understand how we do it. And we're going to remember this as light beings in human bodies. This is going to be something that we're going to remember how to do. But the general idea, connect to unconditional love, breathe from this place, imagine energy coming into you, a nice big ball in your heart there, and just connect to joy, connect to love, and then think about the things that you desire in your life. And that is going to make them appear without their polar opposite. But of course, always, those blocks that are stopping you from getting that thing, they will be shown to you. But you need to listen to the whispers, not the shouts. So everything that happens, everything that shows up, you've got to question, why am I seeing this? Why am I seeing that? Why have I bumped into this person? Why have I done this? Why have I done that? What's my higher self trying to communicate to me? Listen to those whispers and you'll be able to change really effortlessly. But if you don't notice those messages, the messages get louder and louder and louder and louder. And it's at that point when you start getting ill, you start having accidents, and you attract, all calamities into your life. So I'm kind of hoping that answers the question. I know the question was more specific and that's quite general. I'm going to cut off this video because YouTube limits me for 15 minutes, but I'm pretty sure that we've covered everything there. So take care and bye-bye.